President Trump says State of the Union address received praise from lawmakers. When America's Neil W. McCabe caught up with Representative Louie Gohmert and U.K.'s Brexit Party leader, Nigel Farage, to get their opinions on the president's speech.
So that was kind of a boffo State of the Union, Congressman. What'd you think?
You know, I haven't used boffo in many years, but I love that term. I think that's fabulous. I think it's very descriptive. It was, but it was laudatory, but at the same time, there was so much that was heartrending. That's what a good movie is. You laugh, you cheer, you cry, and you got all of that in that speech. It was superb.
And the feeling in the Republican conference, it seemed pretty poignant, and it seemed like the conference is more united now than, say, even 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah, or even 3 years ago. Yeah, so coming together much more so. And, when you're fighting something as unfair and outrageous as an impeachment for unimpeachable charges, something they've been working on for 3 years and charges kept falling through, it's time to put that false stuff behind us and work together. I mean, he brought up infrastructure and the Democrats cheered. Yet they've had over a year to do something, anything, but they were so busy working on impeachment, trying to destroy President Trump. We hadn't done that. We haven't worked on it yet.
You brought a guest with you tonight, sir. Who is that, please?
Not just a guest. We're talking about Mr. Brexit himself, and I was kidding him earlier. Actually, he's worked himself out of the job because he was a European Union parliamentarian. I mean, he was a member, and he worked himself successfully right out of that job.
What did you think of the speech tonight, sir?
Oh, it was tremendous. I mean, he was so confident, in control, an hour and 20 minutes. I mean, not a word out of place. He is the governor. He's in charge, and he's enjoying it.
How would you compare it to the atmosphere, say, in Parliament or in the European Parliament?
Well, the European Parliament's only ever that noisy when they're shouting at me. And when we have, our equivalent of this is the Queen's speech. So the Queen comes into Parliament, both the houses sit together in one room, and she reads out the government's legislative programme. When she reads it out, it's listened to in silence. I mean, this was more like a rally, isn't it? Listen, I loved it. I'd never been to one before. It was a great year. I'm very, very grateful, to be here. It was a great year to come and do it. But I was just astonished at the amount of clapping. I was taken by some of the emotion was quite extraordinary. You had a 100-year-old guy who had been one of the first ever black fighter pilots in the world. Yeah, I mean, that was awesome. And then obviously Rush Limbaugh, extraordinary figure that he is, with this appalling diagnosis. And there's the medal, and the First Lady, I mean, was pinning on the medal. I mean, the whole thing was beautifully done, and with some very, very human touches. And I've observed that with Trump. When you're with him, you watch him meeting ordinary folk. He likes talking to people. He likes putting people at ease. He likes making people feel good. And I think you saw all of that tonight. And interesting, I thought he was doing some stuff for the family tonight, in terms of maternity, paternity, that kind of thing. Big reach out to the black community. He's making a real effort in areas like that. And I then look at the other side, the Dems, who sort of for half of it sat there disconsolate. Then they sort of stood up and shouted a bit, and then Pelosi demeaned the office of Speaker by tearing up the speech. I mean, they're in real trouble.
And the last thing is, similar. A lot of people have compared the Brexit movement to what was going on with Trump. So, any chance I could get you to make a prediction for 2020, sir?
Yeah. Listen, I make predictions all the time. I was one of the very few people in 2016 going around America, and I was here a lot in that campaign, saying I thought Trump could win. Everyone thought that was ridiculous, but I'd seen Brexit, people have had enough of globalism. They've had enough of a detached establishment. They want national identities. They don't want to be unashamed of their patriotism, their country. So I predicted Trump in 2016, and I can tell you, I did have a bit of a wager on it as well, so I was jolly pleased with that. Look, he is going to win in November, be in no doubt.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate
lovely.
it.
Thank
Congressman, great to see you, sir.
Great to see you. Thank you.
All right.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.